When you hear the phrase building wealth, what comes to mind? For a lot of people, it feels, well, exclusive, maybe even a little scary. But what if the biggest thing holding you back isn't your bank account, but just a myth? In this explainer, we're going to dig into our source material and tear down those walls.
Okay, so let's just get right to it, right? The big question on everyone's mind. Is building wealth a game that's, rigged from the start? Is it some private club where you can only get in if you're already rich? It's a really powerful and honestly a super common feeling.
Well, according to the source material we dug into, that idea is the biggest myth of all. The belief that you're locked out before you even get a chance to play, that's the first wall we absolutely have to knock down. And that is exactly what we are going to do today. So, here's the game plan. First up, we're going to dive into what we're calling the Great Wealth Myth. Then, we're going to smash two huge hurdles, the money barrier and the complexity trap. And finally, and this is the best part, we'll map out your path forward with some simple, real steps you can take. All right, let's get into it. Section 1, the Great Wealth Myth. See, before we can even talk about how to do something, we have to understand why it feels so impossible in the first place. It's all about the psychology. I'm willing to bet this sounds familiar, right? This system is rigged. It's a powerful story we tell ourselves. It makes it seem like success isn't about your habits or your strategy, but just about what family you were born into. And man, is that discouraging. And look, let's be clear. That feeling, it is totally valid. It's real. But, and this is a huge but, it's often based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how wealth is actually built. So the goal isn't to ignore the feeling, it's to challenge the ideas it's built on. Okay, so where does this big myth actually show up in our daily lives? Well, that brings us to the first massive roadblock. We're calling it myth number 1, the money barrier. This is that classic idea that you need a pile of cash just to get started. The ultimate catch-22, isn't it? You need money to make money. The thought that you're just stuck on the sidelines because you don't have enough to make what feels like a real difference. This is probably the number 1 reason people just never start. And this is where we really see the myth and reality side by side. The myth says you need thousands to even think about it, but the reality is so much better. It's that the habit of putting away small amounts consistently is way more powerful than waiting around for some big lump sum of cash. Consistency is your superpower here. And here's how easy it is to put that into action. Step 1, just start small. I mean, ridiculously small. An amount you won't even notice is gone, like $5. Step 2, automate it. Set it and forget it. Take willpower right out of the equation. And step 3, just let it go. Let time and your new consistent habit do all the hard work for you. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, all right, I can find $5. But then you hit the next wall. Myth number 2, the complexity trap. This is that sneaky feeling that finance is some secret language and you don't have the decoder ring. And this is that little voice of doubt, right? The one that says investing is just too complicated. You see the crazy charts on the news, you hear all the jargon, and you just decide, you know what? It's safer if I just stay out of it. The fear of messing up feels bigger than the hope of growing. But here's the secret that feels kind of backwards, but it's true. The myth is that you need to be a Wall Street genius to succeed. The reality? The simplest, most boring strategies are often the most effective in the long run. Seriously, sometimes complexity is actually the enemy. So what's the magic trick behind all this? It's one simple, powerful concept: compounding. The easiest way to think about it is like a tiny snowball at the top of a really long hill. As it starts rolling, it picks up a little more snow, gets a little bigger, and starts rolling a little faster. Soon, it's not just your original snowball growing. It's the new snow that's picking up even more snow. That's compounding. It's your money starting to work for you. Okay, so we've busted the money myth, we've busted the complexity myth. Now it's time for the best part, our final section, your path forward. Let's stop talking theory and make this stuff real. Talk is cheap. It's one thing to hear about it, but it's another thing entirely to see it. So let's run a quick and simple example to see what happens when you combine that little habit of consistency with the incredible power of compounding. We're going to start super small, something that feels almost too easy. How about $10 a week? That's it. That's like what, 2 cups of coffee? Now, $10 a week doesn't sound like a lot, but stick with it, and over a year, that's $520. Okay, now we're talking. That's a real amount of money. You can feel a little momentum building. Okay, but this is where the magic really happens. Let's say you keep up that simple $10 a week habit for 20 years. You invest it simply, getting an average market return. You've put in about $10,000 of your own money over that time, but your account, it isn't worth $10,000, it's worth over $18,000. So, where did that extra 8 grand come from? This chart breaks it down perfectly. That first bar, that's your money, the cash you put in week after week. But look at that second bar. That's pure growth. That's the snowball effect in action. That's your money having babies, and then those babies having babies. Over time, that growth can become the biggest part of your portfolio. All right, so let's boil it all down. What are the big things to remember from all this? First, wealth is a mindset, not an income bracket. Second, consistency always beats a big starting amount. Third, simplicity and automation are your absolute best friends. And maybe most importantly, your most valuable asset isn't money, it's time. Look, if there's just one thing you take away from our time together today, let it be this. The biggest barrier holding you back probably isn't the number on your paycheck. It's the story you tell yourself. It's the belief that you can't start. So really, the biggest myth of them all is the idea that you have to wait. Wait for a raise, wait until you know more, wait for the quote-unquote perfect time. That time never comes. The only real question left is the one right here. What's your first small step gonna be?